Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
I don't have camera. Hold on. What happened?
OBS being a...
No, it's not OBS. It's the camera. Yeah, unplug it and plug it back in. That's what I get for not testing it before we started. Yeah, go ahead. We're working on it, guys. Sorry. There it is. Won't let me do HD though. Why won't it let me do HD? All right, we're there. We're good. Turn the info off. Info. Again. There you go. Sound good? No? Does not sound good?
Oh, now you know how we feel, right? How close to the table do I have to get before I'm...
Chat disconnected. Please wait while we try to reconnect. Unable to connect to chat. Why? Real dumb.
Am I cut off pretty bad?
Huh?
Am I cut off pretty bad?
No, you're good. What do you say? Oh. I don't even know if anybody's on because the chat's not working. I've got to get a new laptop.
I can go to the boob tube.
Instagram using the Rode.
Huh?
The wireless go.
You what?
Is it using the wireless go?
Well, yeah, but it's still getting some really bad feedback. Ryer's trying to troubleshoot.
No one's on the chat. No one's on the chat.
Okay. Well, I don't think the chat has loaded.
Well, I'll tell you. Hold on. No, it's letting me chat.
Oh, well, it's not coming up here. How do you reload this? Can
Because
you reload this?
you're trash, my guy.
Oh, you can create a poll. That's cool.
What's your workflow? What goes to what? Does this have to go back into the computer?
No,
That's
it just
going to
goes into
this.
the mic. And then we plug the other end into the phone for audio on the phone.
We're troubleshooting, guys. We're sorry. All right, please stop whatever that is. That's annoying.
I guess I need to be talking on this one to see if it works. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Giggity giggity. I was just testing that because he split your audio.
Sure.
Can you hear in your ears?
I don't hear anything.
You can hear us
I
talking.
can
though.
hear, yeah.
Oh, his is also. Does it sound better now?
Sure. I'm number 2, I think.
Huh? Yeah.
You good?
Sound better?
Yep, that's it.
Wow.
Why does that port do that? It's weird. Does everything sound good? Why is it really loud now? What do I need to turn down?
Probably the audio.
Which number is he?
2.
4? All right. Turned it way down. All right, it's turned down now. Testing 1, 2. How does it sound now? Better, worse? Should I scream in your ear? I turned 4 way down.
Checking the microphone.
I turned it way down. Oh, now it's too low, so we're going up. Okay. Sound better now?
Yeah, I'm just kind of passively monitoring.
Okay.
Passively monitoring.
Yeah.
I got to figure out why that
Bluetoothy.
won't let me stream 1080 It only lets me. Do you think it's because of the 6D? It'll only put out 720.
It could be.
Might be.
We need to get a cable for the R5 then. I just don't have an HDMI cable for the R5.
Yeah.
You've got to. If we have a micro adapter, then we have.
I don't have the mic. No, it's the mini. It's the other one that we don't have.
Of course it is.
All right.
I didn't bring mine.
We were on time today, guys, but we had technical difficulties again. We hodgepodge this video part of this podcast together, so it's not like technically sound, but we figure it out. Is it just me, or is that tripod look like it's like dangerously close from falling off the back of that
It
table?
is.
It is,
Yeah.
but like it's like not going to. Thank you for the vote of confidence. I mean, it looks like it's about to. Okay, well, it's more than I can say for you. So, all right, let's go. Let's do this thing.
You didn't make a lot happen with that.
You had to go there. Good thing you don't have your mic on.
Exactly. I can say whatever I want.
Almost. They can still hear you a little bit.
All right, get yours closer to your mouth. There you go. There we go.
How's
All right.
that?
Are we ready? I think there's a couple
Testing,
people on the live. My
testing.
wife is on the live.
Thank you for
I'm
flying
on.
United.
Mort is freaking on it,
On it.
man. I'm telling you.
Is my mic off? Am I?
Well, can we turn this off now so we don't have to hear
yeah.
us?
That didn't do anything. That's not even a.
That's 4.
Oh, which
No, that
what
doesn't do
is my
anything.
number here?
Lamel knows. Let me see the other side.
Other side.
You're not. You're the 4th one.
You're number
input
4.
4.
So
Oh.
that's this
Oh,
level. So
I
you-
that's-
will never be able to hear anything
so
because
we
we can't
can't.
touch that. We
Well-
need to figure out why that gives us a freaking.
Oh, well, then you
bullcrap
need to
signal.
monitor the audio while someone's talking into yours, because yours is the one being split. Is 4.
I know,
Oh.
but in order to get the proper sound for this out of 4, you have to have it so low that I can't hear it in my head.
Oh,
So
I see.
I can't.
Oh, so it's not
Gotcha.
affecting the in.
So when we like talk like this, can you hear us? Like
with
if
my
we-
regular ears.
So we should talk like
I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna like go full DJ for this podcast. Just sit like this.
You could just do this.
But it doesn't look as cool.
Oh yeah, because that looks so cool.
I look very cool right now.
he wore his sunglasses the first half of the last
I
podcast,
know.
so cool isn't in the factor
just
for.
DJing so hard right here.
And see, the chat's not working. So your computer sucks. You really need a new one.
We've got 3 people watching on Instagram or
Okay.
on YouTube.
Well, everybody's left now because it's taken us so long to actually get into the podcast. And there's obviously a new face here. We will introduce him once we actually start the podcast. But
not,
if you
not
follow-
before then.
But if you follow along on Instagram, you should already know. So
yeah, the chat works. It's not me chat,
yeah, but okay. I know your chat works.
That
My chat does not work.
but it don't matter if I'm monitoring it.
Okay, well, I guess you'll have to answer everybody's questions if there are any.
I'd be doing that.
Okay, so are we ready? Everybody happy?
Yeah, maybe after this podcast,
Double
I'll go
monitor.
order my M1.
Yeah, right.
I'll have an M1 before you. So
Just like you'll start riding
I'm
your
gonna
bike,
get
right?
a one that's like just. I'm gonna find
I
one
just feel
spec. I'm gonna find one spec and make it better than yours.
What's gonna happen
Just one
first?
spec
Him
better
riding
than
his bike or buying his
I
computer?
just feel so naked because you use my phone and you have your laptop. I don't have
So
my
you have
laptop.
nothing to hide
So I'm
behind.
just like,
They have nothing to hide
what do I
behind.
do with my hands? All right.
We-
All right, let's do the podcast thing. Let's do it.
Don't forget to record.
The Redneck Tech Podcast is brought to you by Mike'sArchery.com. They're a one-stop shop for virtually everything archery, bow hunting, and for your next outdoor adventure. Mike's Archery has been at the top of the archery game for over 50 years, and they want to give listeners of the Redneck Tech Podcast 10% off their entire online store using the code REDNECK10, all one word. Just put the code in before you check out, and your boys will hook you up. The guys at Mike's have always been good to us, and now they can be good to you too. Visit Mike'sArchery.com and get your gear now.
Right here, right here, right here, right here. Yeah. You want it? Meh. You know what I was just thinking through the intro of that podcast? What something that we need to do since we have OBS now? We can run a Mike's Archery commercial over that now.
I think
I think we run the acorn squeaker.
Acorn Cruncher.
Cruncher. Ryer, I think we make it a religious part of our podcast that the beginning of every podcast we rate his transition.
I'm gonna
Today,
fix
I
it.
would give it.
I'm gonna fix it. So y'all
an
can't.
You're gonna put it all in one?
Well, you know another thing
That's
our open
cheating.
doesn't do. Our open's cool and it's sound design. It's got like somebody shooting a deer, but like it doesn't say what Redneck Tech Podcast is. Which
So
I don't know. You think we should fix that?
no,
Because we can.
we don't have to.
I think we need to start doing like all the other podcasts and have 25 minutes of advertisements before you even get into it.
Well, that means we make money, so I'm gonna be okay with that.
True.
Because all you gotta do is fast
Yep,
forward.
that 30 seconds, a
Yeah.
hell of a drug.
So as you can see, if you're watching the live, he's better known as 42 Pros, but Matthew Postell said it right.
That's right.
So he is here all the way from the Northland of North Carolina. So you weren't too terribly far away. It was like, what, 4 or 5 hours?
It's 3.5.
Oh, 3.5, even better.
Not that bad.
So he is usually on the live stream of the chat answering questions that we haven't answered yet because he's very tech savvy and very up on latest technology and things like that. And we're going to talk about some of that. But we asked on a live stream a while back, I think it was Ryer asked where your name came from. And
Yep.
we kind of said it on the podcast, but I want you to first of all, introduce yourself and then
Okay.
tell us where the name 42 Pros comes from.
Okay.
And your
Postell.
your Instagram handle's 42 Pros
Yep.
for those of you that
all
don't know.
across all platforms, 42 Pros. That's my business name. So search it up wherever you'll find it. But 42 Pros actually came from, originally it was Code 42 Films because I had started doing all the videoing, editing, photography work outside of what I was doing as a police officer.
Okay.
So for the 10 codes in the police world, if anybody's out there, a cop, 1042 means you're off duty. So I was doing this outside of my police work on my off-duty hours, so it transitions and morphed into 42 Pros. And Pros is for productions.
Okay. So
What's the 10 code for high speed pursuit? Is there one?
he's not telling you.
I know a little bit better than tell you that.
So here's the cool part, and this is Ryer. You can leave the podcast at this time. We can call you when you want to come back. But
Can I
why
get a
didn't
snack?
why didn't you name it after something baseball? Because we just found out today that you played 4 years in the minors for the Marlins.
Yep. Well, it's just one of those things that it really wasn't relatable, because I didn't play professional baseball for years. 02 was my last year with them. So there's a big disconnect. It was 10 years of,
Yeah, I guess I
know.
could see that.
so.
Finally, someone that's in the office is better at baseball than me.
Dude, I think I
Oh
you didn't have
my
much
God.
competition because you do have a pitcher.
Oh
Right.
my God, dude! Between these two with athletic prowess, it's just that was good, Clay. That's the best line you've had in a minute.
Yeah,
And
I'm pretty
he's-
proud of it.
And he's a left-handed pitcher.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Double whammy.
All right, this guy holds the record
All
for
right, here we
like
go.
bunts for hits. So
My senior year
Okay.
in the
we
state
not
of Florida.
we've not
yeah.
got. I mean,
Okay.
we're not playing
That's like
with
the
a full
record
deck
for the
here.
tallest midget.
So,
It's like, who really cares about that?
so how many rings you got?
2.
Like championship rings?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Well,
Yeah.
high school,
No.
college, 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Any more?
No.
Ah.
No. I went Division 3 player. My
okay.
freshman year we were 14 and 27, and there's
Ooh.
That's rough.
yeah.
What,
don't-
where do you
have
get
fun
3
with that.
rings from?
State championship in high school and then 2 conference in college.
Well, if you were 14 and 27, how would you win a conference?
That
Well,
was
the
his
next
first
2
year.
years.
Oh,
They
okay.
give out rings in high school for.
State
For
championship.
state championships, of course they
Yeah.
do. They give out rings for just about everything now. Like, kind of the ring thing is not as important as it used to be.
I was about to say, I don't
But
really
they
feel like.
back in the day, to win a ring was like top of the mountain.
I don't know how they do it in Georgia, but in Florida, every sport except for football, the booster club or the sport has to pay for their own
Yeah,
ring.
same
In
here.
football, the state pays for it, which is dumb. Because
Yeah.
mine looks like a cool class ring.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the booster club didn't have.
So we won.
How
So
come
we
you never
won.
wear them? Why don't you Tom Brady up in here with those?
You make
three
fun of me
rings?
enough. The next thing I need to do is walk in and be typing on my keyboard, and you see a
So
state
you admit they're
championship
not
ring.
cool.
The only time you would wear something like that is like at a
reunion or something.
yeah, and even then it's kind of a straight douche move to wear.
Yeah.
Now, if I had a
Yeah.
World Series ring,
yeah,
I would
yeah,
literally wear it
100%.
every day.
I don't know why Tom Brady doesn't wear every single ring at all times.
Because he's standing
and
next
win
to
and win games with 10 rings on his fingers just to flex.
because he's standing next to Giselle Bundchen, and you don't need to wear rings when you're standing next to Giselle Bundchen.
Well, you want to wear
Facts.
one ring.
Well,
True.
you don't.
True.
Well,
Yeah, true.
Facts.
You want to make sure that ring is on
It's
there
locked in.
and attached. Locked in.
Contract signed.
Yeah.
yeah. So it's funny.
Yeah,
She made
prenup as well
she
in
made
that
more money
situation.
than him. She made more money than he did doing Victoria's Secret modeling than he did playing professional football.
There's still hope for me.
For the football or the Victoria's Secret?
We're not going
Money.
to get anywhere in this
Oh.
podcast. This is terrible already. Okay, so anyway, so now we've got the backstory of 42 Pros, which is
Yep.
cool, and we now know that you're clearly a superior athlete than Clay. So let's talk about what we actually came to talk about, which is production. So
Yep.
we've been talking in the office a little bit. So you've done some corporate stuff, some business-to-business stuff, and you do a lot of fishing, and you've done some hunting stuff too. So you kind of ran the gamut on everything.
Yep.
So of everything that you've done, what's your favorite piece of content that you've got to do so far?
Well, it would be the bad boop lands film. You know, no, I'm just kidding.
The
No,
Badlands film?
that project was a year-long deal.
Yeah.
I got to do it with two great guys, Matt and Sean. Sean was the main character, and just a lot of planning, the filming, the scenery. I mean, just
Yeah.
putting it together was a hoot.
How
It
was
a
that?
lot of
How
fun.
was that process? Like submitting it to the film festival. How does that go on the back end of that? Because we haven't done it yet.
Well, there's a cutoff date,
Yeah.
so you obviously got to plan accordingly. And we filmed in early October, so I basically had 2 months to work on organizing and editing.
So you shot and then did the main edit.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep,
So how many
yep.
shooters? 2 shooters and then just you as
Yep.
editor.
Yep.
So, I mean that's a really small project. It's essentially 4 guys.
Correct.
Or
Three
three guys.
Three
Getting
guys.
smaller. So so that was your favorite project, and I know you do a lot of fishing stuff. I mean, being in
Yep.
North Carolina, you're fairly close to the coast, but I know you travel all over. So what's some of the
Yep.
fishing stuff that you've gotten into lately?
A lot of it is the tournament world, so I'll cover a lot of tournament events, you know, weigh-ins and different things like that. Sometimes I get to get on the boat and actually have some fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just kidding. It's all fun
Yeah.
because the venues we go to are really pretty.
Yeah.
Like if you've ever been to the Outer Banks, specifically Hatteras, you're hooked. I mean, the beaches are beautiful. The fishing's great.
Mm. It's a
and,
beach. It's not beautiful, but
but it's not busy. It's not busy.
We'll continue.
Okay. Then you can get some fresh food there, fresh fish. You know, when they go catch them that day, then they put them on the grill that night, and you have fish tacos.
Yeah.
Or better yet, tuna steaks. That's a treat in itself. You know, but the fishing tournament world is really where I do a ton of work,
Yeah.
and then the corporate world is there as well. But it's interesting. You get to meet a lot of new people, a lot of custom boat builders.
Yeah.
You know, like one of the most famous boat builders for sport fishing world is Bayless Boat Works.
Yeah.
And John there, he's awesome dude. You just figure out that they're just regular people that know how to build
Build
awesome boat.
incredible boats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they're beautiful. So
I mean, any boat that takes 2 years to build, it's better be incredible, and as much as they cost.
mhm.
That's such a different world. I'm so far. I've done like very little offshore fishing, and the offshore fishing I have done hasn't been on a boat like that.
Yeah.
Boats I get to go out on, you get your teeth beat out the whole time you're out there. So
Yeah.
it'd be nice. I mean, I might not mind this offshore fishing thing if I got to go on a nice boat like that.
You would have liked
True.
the Freeman and the Keys. You would have
Yes.
liked that. Yeah. Compared to what you were on the first time, the Freeman makes it a lot better.
Hopefully, we'll get to go
Tons.
do another trip on that this
Well,
year.
we need 3 of them.
3 of them.
Freemans?
Well, he's already got 2. Why not? You can just rent another one.
Ooh,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, get us the budget and let's do it.
He's
I'm
got
all
2
for it.
Freemans.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Well, if you do get to go out on another one, that catamaran style like a Freeman,
Mm-hmm.
a lot easier on you in the water.
You
But
don't-
if you
You don't do that.
Yeah. If you get a V-hull, like a standard boat, if it has a Seakeeper in it, which is a counterbalance system, so it keeps you from doing this all day long, and it slows you way down, that is the best boat to film on with a V-hull, if it's got a Seakeeper. So basically it's a huge weight.
Like
in
a
the boat.
pendulum that kind of.
Yeah. And
counter-
the big custom boats like that have them.
Yep, yep.
That sounds expensive. It's essentially like a
is.
gyro for the boat.
That's exactly what it
Yes.
is. It's a gimbal.
It's a
almost.
gimbal for a boat that
Yeah.
helps balance it and keeps its horizon up there.
That's just, in the words of Joe Rogan, F you money.
It is.
And I'd like to know what that feels like just for a day. Just to say, you know what, my boat, it's got a big pendulum on it. It's like a Cadillac in the water. Can you imagine, Ryer? Can you imagine having that much money for a day?
I don't
What
know.
would you do if you had that much money for a day?
Ride my bike.
I'd go buy a real nice one. I'd go buy like probably 5 different bikes. I would go get every single genre of bike, and then I'd probably,
Genre. Oh,
Yeah,
like
you know.
okay.
Instead
Yeah.
of getting an M1 laptop.
I would also get that. I would also get a cheese grater Mac. I'd probably get a ridiculous diesel truck because at that point, who cares? The only reason I don't have a ridiculous diesel truck is because I have grown past my adolescent need for noise over money. Like right now, money wins over having a diesel just because it's useless for me to have a diesel. What am I going to do with it besides be cool? So I would get a large truck or maybe a older truck that was cool and restored, maybe something like that. I'd probably get like a motorcycle.
He's taking this
I'd
question way
probably-
too
He
far.
I'd
is,
probably
he
get-
is, as all questions.
I would probably
You see
get
why I
a-
tone out? You
yeah.
see why I tone out now?
I'd probably get a
Weeds.
plane of some kind.
Oh, yeah, that's the first thing
I
I'm
would.
buying is a plane.
I only get the
Yeah.
money for a day, right?
Yeah, but all the money you
Okay.
spend that day,
I
it's
would
it. So
put a
you're only
lot
going to
of-
have time to go buy a plane. That's the only thing I'm going to buy.
Well,
is a
then,
plane.
okay, maybe if that's the case, then we'll do. I'll thinking here. If I got that much money in a day, I'm going to go find somebody to invest of incredibly large sums of money that day. And
No,
then
you got to buy things. You can't invest the money. You got to buy things with it.
I'll
That's
buy
no fun.
Amazon.
You buy.
You
Okay,
got
it's
that-
FU money. It's not all the money in the world.
I will buy a. I could buy stocks. That's buying.
No,
you went.
fun.
You went. Yeah, you totally ruined the question. But anyway,
You said, what would I do with FU money for a day? And I started
I
saying
meant
all
fun
the things.
I didn't mean like starting to
was
think philosophically about the question.
I was trying to make sure that I had FU money for a long period of time.
for an
That's-
FU amount of time.
Yeah. Like FU money for a day is fun, but what if you use the FU money to secure an FU life?
All right, moving on. So
Production.
production. Sorry, the
Oh,
Redneck
I'd
Tech-
probably buy like an Arri Alexa.
back to the Redneck
Couple
Tech
of 'em.
podcast. So there's been several times that we've been on the podcast and people have asked us questions about some like really technical details. What's that?
Mort. Mort, hey, you better watch out. I have wrapped up the rough cut of the hunt we did with you and Brock.
Finally.
But I still have the power here. I still have the editor's power.
Taylor
Just
Hauser
remember
said.
this.
Taylor Hauser said when he said in the words of Joe Rogan, I started to get nervous.
Nice.
And then we have a question about fishing gear that we'll
All
get
right.
to later in the podcast.
Get those NFTs.
All right. Well, remember the fishing
I got it.
question
It's
because
right
I'll
here.
forget.
It's right here.
But you know, like you were the one that told us about the update
Yep.
coming for the FX6, which we've already updated and we love.
Good.
You know, I kind of got a feeling you're one of those guys that just really likes deep diving into some of the new tech and some of the new things that are coming. So let's talk about that a minute. What are some new things that we should be doing, and some new things maybe on the horizon that you're excited about?
Gear wise, I mean, you already got the wireless Go 2, so
Mhm.
that's a pretty cool piece of kit because I absolutely love that one. Because
I do too.
You got 2 recorders plus 2 mics, you know,
Mhm.
built in. I've got a video on my YouTube channel where I walk you through how to set that up with another shotgun mic for boom or a scoop setup, and for a guy that travels all the time. If you do interviews, that is 100% the best way to do it.
Yeah.
You don't have no cables, no
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
So yeah, as far as other equipment, I'm really considering buying the A1 if I can find one.
Yeah.
Sony A1, just because of all it can do, you know, from a photography and a video side. Because I'm a pure hybrid guy.
Yeah.
So when I got a camera in my hands, I got to be able to do both pretty quick. you
Yeah.
know. So I would love to have FX6 or maybe even a 9 if my budget would allow that.
Yeah. Why not? Why the 9 over the 6?
Just some other legacy codecs and stuff like that, because that's a true cinema camera
Mhm.
with some of the stuff. And I think it actually does 24p on the nose, not 2398 or 2397 or whatever it is.
I think it's 23976,
Six,
which
yeah.
if you round the 7 up, that would be 978.
round
Then
the
you could
20
ride that up. And that's
you round the 23.9
round
up,
that
it's-
up is
yeah.
24.
Yeah.
You're right. Okay. But so those are in the I guess the future for me. But I hadn't seen too much new tech come out yet. But
Yeah.
this year might be a good one.
Do you follow like CES and things when those things come out? What's your take on what's that new?
I'd love to go to that.
I would too. What's the new DJI ninja looking thing? What is that?
The gimbal
camera?
camera.
Yeah, the
Oh,
gimbal
yeah.
camera. What the heck is that?
I watched a bunch of
That's
reviews
crazy.
and they were like, it's cool for like if
It's
you
a
have a
cool tool.
very, very specific project.
Correct.
Right.
Other than that, it's a pain in the butt.
Yes.
Because
Oh, okay.
Very
apparently,
difficult. Very
apparently
difficult.
it comes
It's
with like
super
all the
heavy.
DJI codecs and
Yep.
things like that, kind of like the Sony system.
Yep.
So DJI created their own like codec system inside of it, which we don't know how that goes.
Yeah. Well,
And I've heard it's super heavy.
Right.
It's kind of hard to run on a tripod. It's
Yeah, you
not
can't
really
take
meant
it
for
off. It's stuck, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
well, it's a
stuck,
whole
so-
system.
Yeah.
It's
But it's
permanently
only
fixed.
good for that.
Yeah.
So you can't like he said you can't take it off and handhold it or
It's
whatever.
very niche.
Yeah.
What are some things that you think because we get the question a lot, and honestly, it's not that I glaze over when I get the question, but we just get the question so much. What is a camera that your opinion, like for a guy that's starting out and maybe just sells films that doesn't have a professional budget? Like, what would be the best all around picture video camera in your opinion now? Because to me, there's just so many of them.
A ton. Yeah.
And like, if your price point's $2,500 and under, like, what's something that you would get a solid camera with some decent lenses? What would you be your go-to? You think?
Well, my first question to whoever that would be, what's your end game with it? What are you
Yeah.
going to do with it?
Yeah.
Because that really caters to what you're going to get done with your money.
Yeah.
But there's a handful of cameras out there. But if you're going to self-film, especially deer hunting, I mean, you got to get a video camera of some sort, like a G20, G30. If your budget is not that much, if you can break back and get a Canon XF 405 or 400, that one does 4K 60 with a 1-inch sensor, really good in low light. So it's all about your budget, but those would be where I would stay.
Yeah.
These phones that we have nowadays can take really good pictures if you know what you're doing, framing and everything, lighting, make sure everything's kind of good. And with some cameras now you can do RAW, so you can play with a little bit in post. So the video camera for a self-filmer would have to be like a little prosumer or a camcorder.
Yeah.
And
I
then
think
get a controller and everything.
I think that's. I mean, if you want to film your own hunts, that's the way to go. Is something that you could run like a VariZoom.
Yep.
And then running your second angle, like we had a Ben Kersey who was here in our class, our editing class, and he does a lot of self filming. He's kind of new to it, but wants to step up his game on the editing side and the shooting side. He had a GoPro as his second angle, but he didn't have time to get it on, turn it on in the moment. But he didn't want to go back and recreate that because he's like, that's not how it really happened. I'm like, but that did happen.
Yeah.
I'm like, so in order to tell the story correctly, you've got to go back and recreate all those
some
things.
stuff.
Is it how it happened? Did it happen live? No. But you think everything you watched on TV happened like it's happened like you think it did? No. And I think it's if you run with a camcorder or like a handy cam like that, I think you spend that. What is it? How much is it Osmo now? $200
Yeah,
for $300. You can have a solid second angle,
Yep.
and you can tell a more complete story by yourself.
Yep.
Self filming's extremely hard. Bow hunting or hunting period's hard a lot of times. Self filming, whole nother level. I've
Yep.
tried it, failed
tough.
miserably at it. Have no desire to do it whatsoever.
I wish they would add loop record into the Osmo.
I
Like,
think it has
I
it.
think it does have it.
Does it?
I think so.
I could never find it when I looked.
What you
for
got to do is you just got to get all the remotes and get like armbands for them. And so that, like right here, and then when the deer comes in, you move that camera, just have all your GoPros come on, then you're ready to go.
You look like a Christmas tree up there.
Well,
on
see
top of
that
the thing.
that's what like Lee loves those Tacticams, and they look
That's
like
right there.
they look like doo doo.
Mhm.
But he can have 5 of them on at one time, and they link
Yep.
to the remote, and he goes, think, and all 5 of them turn on at the same time.
Yeah.
And then they all start and stop at the same time. So for an editor,
That's
you literally just
beautiful.
make so they're all lined up, and
Yeah.
then you multicam it. And
Yep.
Yeah. Nate, good luck. Yeah, but I haven't tried the new no Osmo 2,
The little cube.
the Action 2.
Okay, yeah.
I want to try it. I'm sure if it's as much of an improvement on the image side from the Mavic 2 to the Mavic 3,
Yeah.
it's going to be night and day.
Correct.
But they're like 500 bones. They're
Yeah.
The
expensive.
little cube.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
They
and
got
if
that
you don't get the
magnet.
battery, if you don't get the battery pack with it, they say the batteries don't last very long.
Yep.
But they're the magnetic cubes, so you can like put them in so many more places.
Yep.
That's one thing that I want to develop or find somebody to develop. There's not a great second angle mount for a tree that you don't have to screw in. And the ones that you screw in, we usually modify them ourselves anyway.
Correct.
That's something I want to figure out a way of doing that better, because I bet I've got a dozen mounts. I don't like any of them.
I love that one Lee gave me. It's the clamp with the rubber neck
Yeah.
that you can literally do anything you want
turn it
with, and you
wherever.
move it whenever you want. He gave it to me because the GoPro gooseneck I had was squeaky because it
Yeah.
was plastic on plastic,
Yeah.
and I could just
Those things are trash.
I just turn it however I want.
squeaky.
Yeah. And that's what none of these people think about. They don't think about hunters. They think about these guys riding motorcycles. A squeak doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, they can squeak all they want, but that's something I would like to develop. A product that I think needs improving is a good second angle type thing for a tree. But if you could use it for a tree and a ground blind and in your car, and like it's multi-purposeful, like either
Right.
there are different bases or there's different
Mm-hmm.
attachments, that would be the way to go. Because I struggle with that, because I stopped bringing them because they're all such a pain. Or you got to carry 3 of them to get the right one. And it seems like every tree I'm in, there's never a good spot to put a clamp.
Mm-hmm.
Or if there's a spot to put a clamp, I brought the one that screws in, and there's not a great spot to put it. It's just
See, I always
miserable.
used to just clamp it to my camera arm,
I used to too.
but Lee doesn't like the camera arm in between the hunter and the cameraman. He likes it on the other side. So
Mhm.
then all of the camera arm is on the opposite side of me of what Lee is. So then
Mhm.
it doesn't do very well. So.
Yeah. I don't like. It just depends on the tree where I put it. Sometimes I'll put it on my right side. Sometimes I'll put it on my left.
I didn't have to set a camera arm once this year, so I'll put it wherever the man wants it.
Yeah,
I didn't either.
I set mine up every time.
I didn't have to set up a camera arm a single time this year.
Did you not sit in a tree at all this year?
No, he
You didn't sit in a tree one time this year.
no. He didn't whitetail hunt until
You got
Until
a
after
ground blind
Thanksgiving.
or a redneck every time.
well, you
Well,
have to
I
think.
only did 7 days total.
And those 7 days were in
Whitetails.
January.
3 of them were with Brian, and
Yeah.
5 of them were in January.
With
With
yeah,
Crush, yeah.
exactly. Mr. O, I had a long
I
fall.
want to. Yeah, I want to hear no complaints out of you.
I would have rather sat in
And-
a tree stand than in that
and-
freaking truck for
and
30 days.
True.
None of those 8 days, I bet he hunted a morning.
Pleading the
Exactly.
fifth.
Exactly.
No, I'm perfectly fine with it. Y'all know my stance on mornings. If I can avoid a really early morning, I will. Like, I don't need to be up at 4 in the morning. I like getting up.
You did mornings in September though,
Well, yeah, and for mule
which
deer
we
and
all go
everything
hard.
else.
We all go hard in September. There's just no way around that. But so we talked about some gear. What are some
Moore wants to know about a hat GoPro. I've never seen you guys put a GoPro on the hunter like a hat GoPro. Why?
well, because we
seen
don't.
it.
Mostly because if you put a hat GoPro on somebody, they look like a giant dork.
Yeah, and the footage
yeah.
is usually trash. And we don't want, when we're filming them, we don't want to see a GoPro on their head.
Correct.
I just,
Yeah.
And
Is
people move their heads a lot more than you think they do.
yeah. That's really
That'd be
the.
a cool
a lot
redneck tech
more.
thing.
You start looking
Well,
at
I've
somebody's
thought about
head
doing that for
camera and you're
Redneck
like,
Tech.
whoa,
Yeah.
Yeah.
quit looking so much.
I have thought about doing that for Redneck Tech. Is
A
taking.
chest rig might not be bad. If you could figure out a way to mount a GoPro, like kind of not right on the front
Well,
of
that new-
somebody's
The
bino
new
harness,
one.
but kind of back behind it.
Well, there's that. I think that new DJI Osmo 2 has the magnet, so you can literally
Yeah.
magnetize. You can put a
'Cause that,
magnet
would,
plate.
that could be a
Behind.
cool angle.
Yeah.
I mean,
Might
you
be
could,
something
you could
Especially for a
magnetize it
cool-
like right there. Or
Yeah.
whatever.
Cool draw shot or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, there's a.
But if
We-
you want to wear one more, I'll hook you up. We'll get you with a hat GoPro.
We've
whole
got
time.
one down there in the drawer somewhere, I'm sure. Because I mean, we've got all that crap. We
For
just,
4 payments of $19.99 more, it can be yours.
But wait, there's more. If you call now,
There's Mort.
we'll throw in some random GoPro batteries, a Hero 3 that doesn't run anymore, and some USB 3 cables that are laying around. If you need USB 3 cables, we got you. We got more cables. Like, I'm looking at just cables laying all over the place. Oh, anyway. So you said that you had some stuff, some talking points and stuff that you wanted to talk about. What's some of the stuff you wanted to talk about now that you're here?
Well, what's one of the camera? What's the one thing that kind of was the aha moment for you? What camera was you guys using back in the day when y'all first got started? That really made it click. That says, hey, you know what? I might be able to make this a living.
The camera that made it click for me?
Yeah.
I think the camera that I got the most confident on when I was first running and doing a lot of this was when I first started working at Sub 7. I had cameras before that, but I never really knew my way around them. Like, I was kind of faking my way and flipping it to auto and praying I got good stuff and never knowing why my footage looked like crap. The first time I ever learned to run a camera in full manual was the Sony EX3, which would have been 10 years ago.
Yep. 2012.
And we had like 4 or 5 of those. And I remember walking to the office the first day when I was there and seeing that camera and being like, "Oh my God, that thing's it's like this big."
Yeah.
It took 2. What were the name of those cards? I can't even remember.
Floppy
the name.
disk?
No,
Compact
floppy
flash.
disk. Good God, dude.
He's not that old.
I can't remember the name of the card now.
QXDs or
Was it what might have been a
Compact
QX?
flash.
No, it was QX. I think it was a QXD card.
Mini DV
XD.
tape?
The long, narrow, skinny cards.
Oh, yeah.
Film?
That's a
No.
Sony. That's an old school Sony one. Yeah.
I
know
can't
something like
remember
that.
what they're called. But anyway, but that camera, like, ergonomically and like just absolutely beat the crap out of it. That was the toughest camera I've ever ran. Dude, we beat those cameras so hard. And they had a great LCD that was super, super durable. Already had a hood built into it. Had a great top panel. They weren't that heavy until Lee decided he wanted to put
V-mount.
the Fujinon long lenses on them, and those are like crazy heavy. They were kind of milky. They weren't very sharp, but you had doublers on them. So I mean, you had an all-in-one lens that would go out to, like, I don't remember how wide it would go, like probably 18 millimeters, 16 millimeters. It'd go super, super wide, and then it was like a kind of equivalent to like a 200 or a 20 times zoom, and then you had a doubler that you lost light, but it would go out even further. The image wasn't crazy good and nice. It was good enough for Outdoor Channel for sure, but like compared to now, night and day. But that camera, we used to have I don't even know who made them, but they had like a little shoulder thing that mounted to the base. But for hand holding and running and gunning, no better camera. And it's like we ran them in manual focus, but I felt like I was never out of focus. I felt like I was
Small
the
sensor.
easiest. Yeah, it was the easiest camera to find focus on I've ever ran. That's when I learned about peaking and running a camera in manual, running everything in manual. I mean, that was the first camera that I really spent a ton of time behind. And it had an all-in-one lens. You know, it wasn't you could take the lens off, but like we only ran the stock lens on it, and it had the rocker, so you could run a Varizoom. Like, it was the all-around camera. It was the best one, and that camera got miles, man. I mean, miles and miles, because that was when I was shooting 220 days a year, you know, and just burning the roads down. And I was editing, I don't know about the first year, but like my third year there, I figured it up. I did like 200-something days, and I edited 11 episodes of TV. So like almost edited an entire season and shot, I can't remember, it was like 20-something episodes. So I was responsible for 30 episodes myself. And that was the year that was like, you could not have went much harder than, and it wasn't just me. I mean, there was guys like Pender and Lovey that went harder than I did with Lee and Tiffany.
Yeah.
But like me, I was like pegged. That's as hard as I could go. And then that's when I was working for Sub 7, 3 or 4 years in, not making any money, but loved it, absolutely, and enjoyed the crap out of it. But if I had to put and then picture wise was the 5D Mark II.
Yeah.
And that's when I first got into my foray into taking any pictures. And still, if I wish mine down there hadn't died on me, because I loved that camera. It's the loudest shutter. Sounds like you're shooting a gun when you take a picture, but
That's a 22.
yeah, man, it's that was my favorite. What about you?
Well, I guess I got started on the NX5U, which is kind of the
I had one of those too.
yeah. It was pretty popular Sony camera, just a pretty standard video camera, nothing super fancy about it. Got a built-in lens, had all the rings on it for zoom and focus and exposure and all that, and I'm pretty sure I ran that full manual straight off the bat because
You're just a boss.
Superhero.
Yeah, you're just a boss.
well, I was shown that there was a oh crap button
Yeah.
that made it go full auto, but Mark was like, yeah, just learn to run it in full auto, so
Yep.
or run it in manual, so that's what I did. And I think we got a 70D, a Canon 70D before the FS7, and the Canon 70D was my first picture camera. So that's where I kind of started messing around with pictures, and because it had a removable lens and it was an SLR, you started to get some of the depth of field and the filament qualities that you get with more I guess cinema style cameras with actual glass and stuff like that. And that's kind of where I first started to figure out how to make good images. And then we got the Sony FS7, and I think that was probably the camera where I really started to come into my own as a person who films things and is artistic with it, because you kind of are able to combine all the things that make a video camera good and all the things that make an image good from an SLR, and you put them together, and now you've got a rig that you can run and make really nice imagery from it. And I ran that till this season. And
Clay?
I don't know. I love the FS7.
Yeah.
I would still run an FS7. Like, I love that camera.
Yeah.
Mine was the Sony NX3.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
No, I think that's the camera. I didn't have the 5U. I had the NX3. That's what I had.
yeah.
I think that's the bigger one, right?
It's like I don't know,
Yeah.
probably the size of an FS5, but with a built-in lens.
Okay, that's what I
Yeah.
had then.
Yeah, it had like the
Big square.
on the end of the handle. It had a built-in light.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that. I love that feature.
Yeah.
Built-in light with a switch up top. I loved it. But that's what I started on before I moved to the FS5. But it was just one of those things where I learned to use it manual, but there weren't that many manual functions you could actually do things with.
Yeah.
But it was enough that once I moved to the FS5, I already kind of knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
And my first picture camera was a 70D. But
Mine was a T3i, Canon T3i.
Wow.
Shot on auto. Didn't know what I was doing. Took a couple decent pictures, just that turned out with good light. But
That's
I wish
how
I
it
could
all
find
starts.
some of those.
Yeah.
Really, I wish I'd have kept some of those cameras just for
because-
posterity.
Yeah.
I have really no use for them. But like one of my favorite cameras to run, and still, image wise, it was ergonomically was horrible. But it was that FS700.
700.
FS700.
Jesus.
I just remember that thing coming out, and you could shoot in 240. And people were like 240 frames. What?
But you had to
Yeah.
hold it like this to see the LCD because
Yeah.
the
It's
LCD
on
was
top.
all the way
Like,
on the back.
I want to find the designer and be like, hey, you're an idiot. Like, why did you design this thing like this? But
Well, they probably
Dude,
assumed people were going to buy it just for a
we
slow-mo
couldn't
camera.
wait, and that's pretty much what we did. But we just could not wait to shoot a turkey in the face with that thing at 240. And then when we figured out what cash record was, where it would record the end trigger,
Yep.
blew our minds. We're like, what?
Well, small town
You
hunting.
shoot the turkey and then you hit record? Like, what?
Small town hunting, like up until like a year and a half or 2 years ago, was still using that camera.
I know
to
people
film
are
on.
still running that camera. But, I mean, it was...
Isn't there
for-
one sitting in Lee's gear room? Which one is that?
That's the F5.
That's the
Okay.
F5.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the cinder block.
Yeah. Cool.
It's a
That's a
cin-
great. I ran that camera a bunch, too.
it's a
But
cinder block.
it looks
with a,
exactly like the FS7.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the picture's identical.
yeah.
But yeah, the FS5 ran that a bunch. FS7, EX3, 300K, FS700, FS7, FX6. I haven't got as much time behind it yet with the FX6 as I have those other cameras, but it's my favorite so far.
Yep.
But it's also because of how well it does in low light and how small and how light.
And how
Light
good it
light
looks
can
at
be
a
negative.
camera.
Light can have a negative connotation when you don't have the image stabilization, which we talked
Yeah.
about. We're looking at doing some different things on imaging just because that Tamron lens is great. Picture's great. But hand holding it with image stabilization at the end of your lens, you can definitely tell.
Nate's gonna have a lot of warp stabilizer to render.
Yeah.
through.
So
Luckily, that the little bit of shake that you get from just holding a camera buffs out pretty good with the warp
Yeah.
stabilizer.
But I've been noticing it more and more lately. On the high end stuff, like big either films or series, there's tons of camera movement that's like I would never have put that shot in there with that much movement. And I don't know if they're adding that in. I don't think they can add this much movement in. But it's like over the top camera movements. Like, I mean, I'm filming you.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
noticeable,
you know, it's like somebody hit you and they left.
It's not handheld movement. It's like jittery.
Well, it's
movement.
like they're essentially like if I was shooting a shot of y'all talking and I'm standing here and instead of
all
walking
over
back
the
and
place.
forth, I'm just kind of like I'm adjusting in my seat and they're leaving crap like that in there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? I would never leave that shot.
Yeah.
Like I would be like, well, that looks like I just got hit by a car. Let's change that shot and do that again. Dude, these big productions are leaving it. I mean, I guess it's because, we teach this in our production classes. Is like, you know, the guys that are standing there trying to get, talking or standing there filming somebody, they want to stand there like a statue and don't move. Just stand here still as possible. But when we're sitting here talking to somebody, you don't sit and talk to somebody
That's right.
like this. You know, you don't move a muscle. I'm moving all the time. I'm looking at you. I'm looking at him. I'm swaying back and forth in my seat. It's like, because that was one of the first things that somebody noticed on our production class. Or no,
it was Chase.
was it Chase?
When we went to Iowa for the
Okay,
planting
that
stuff.
is what it was. Because somebody noticed that we were shooting. It was me and Clay standing side by side, double shooting, talking, and we were both like swaying in the hips and like moving around. It's like I do it subconsciously now. I don't even think about it. But he's like, y'all move around a lot when you're shooting. I'm like, well, when you're talking to me, are you standing still? Your head's moving. You're looking back and forth. I'm like, we just want to put that natural movement into those shots. And he's like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And then we tell people that in our production classes, like, look, the more rigid you try and make that shot when you're trying to be interpersonal and have somebody talk to the camera, the less natural it feels.
Well, you add more shake because you're
Yep.
tense
Yeah.
and you shake versus just being
That's natural fluid
flow,
movement.
Yeah.
And then it's easy when you're nice and fluid that, especially if I'm shooting you to you, and I frame you and then you move. Well, if I'm naturally fluid, I can reframe you and get you back in the right place versus, oh, no, he moved. Oh, he moved. Oh, he moved.
It's already moving.
Yeah, it's already
versus-
moving. And it makes sense in your brain that, I tried to explain that to, we explained that in our camera class too. It's like when you're setting up a frame for an interview or a shot or B-roll or whatever, it's like, no, leave that limb or that tree or that leaf or that truck or whatever in your foreground.
Yep.
Leave it there because, like, I'm looking at you right now. This is in my foreground. This is in my foreground. This is in my foreground.
Yep.
All these things are dirtying up my image,
Yep.
but I'm still focused on you. That background, that grate of that air conditioner is in my view too, but I don't notice it. It's the same thing when you're dirtying up a frame.
Yep.
It's not, I say dirtying up a frame, but it's
filling.
making it more visually
giving it
pleasing. It
depth.
makes
Yep.
your brain isn't used to nice, perfectly clean frames. It's used to having things in and out of focus in your foreground, in your background. So, but you just tell guys that in classes and you show them how to put that into practice, and they're like, never would have thought of that. They try and clean things up, try and get things out of their shot.
Yep.
Like, no, dude, leave it in there, but
Yep.
use it. Use that for your movement.
Yep.
Um,
And that's something I tell all the guys that I'll film, especially if I'm doing talking head stuff. I'll tell them, hey, just let you know, I will be moving, so don't be, caught off guard
mhm.
when I start moving around a little bit. Just that subtle sway, because that helps me relax, like Clay was talking
Yeah.
about. So all my structure is sitting on bones, and I'm just moving my
Yeah.
hips and my legs to
Yeah.
add that little extra something. And then that gets into theory and filming and
Which
the
is-
emotional dynamic.
Yeah.
Of,
Which
putting
we've
in that
talked about,
image.
and it's what Ryer kind of covered in our editing class, is kind of the psychology of
Yep.
shots and edits and way you shoot things, why you frame things certain ways, and we can go down a really deep rabbit hole with that. And there's some things like that we want to do podcasts about, but it's really hard to do that with like out visual aids and
Correct.
putting a ton of time into getting those visual aids and being able to play those on the thing. So we like to talk about them, and but we talked yesterday about there's so many things on the podcast that we want to do. We want to like almost like give a cameraman 101 type class here, but we're so limited visually, you know, without bringing things or staging things or making a big production of it. Or the other thing is, you know, we don't know who's watching the podcast. Like there's certain things we could do like when people watch it, but
Yep.
a lot of people just listen to it.
Yep.
So we have ideas for things we want to do, and people have asked us like, would you do like a course, like an online course? And it's like, maybe we could, but we just like the personal like face to face, you know, teach you what you want to know and, you know, skim over the stuff that you already know or you don't care about type thing. So
Plus, you can read your guys that are here. You know,
for sure.
Say, all right, they're glazing over on
Yeah.
whatever. You know, let's move on a little quicker. Cover it for everybody, but you know, move on. And for those that are watching, if you're new to filming, if you do the wide, medium, tight, that'll cover your bases a lot of the times on the emotional piece. So you'll have a lot of flexibility.
Wide, medium, tight, all the time. Who, what, when, where, why, whether. Wide, medium, tight.
Yep.
And I mean, it sounds easy, and in theory, it is. I mean, this is, dude.
It's just a habit.
Listen,
You got to develop it.
it's if, like I've said 1,000 times, if I can do it, if these two idiots can do it, anybody can do it.
We're
It's not
we're
that
just
hard.
good old country boys having fun.
Oh,
right.
come on, dude. Don't go there. Don't go there.
You did, didn't you?
He did. He really did. What was the question? The fishing question. Since we got a fishing guy here.
It says, what equipment would you recommend for the fishing industry that may be more specific for that type of shooting? Different types of filters to decrease glare, etc.
Polar.
Yeah. If you're gonna do anything,
100%.
if you're gonna do anything underwater, get
Red filter, maybe.
red filter. Yep.
Yeah.
Because sometimes that water will be super green,
Yeah.
It filters out.
and
that red.
it filters it out and or adds the opposite hue.
Yeah.
So talk about that, because in fishing, one thing that you don't have to contend with as much when you're out on the water, especially offshore, is going in and out of shadows like you do in the trees. Like you have shadows under people's hat bills and things like that.
Yep.
But you're generally shooting most of the time in bright sunshine.
Right.
It's pretty
And
consistent.
there's not a ton of contrast. You're usually on a white boat with blue water, and you're trying to film in a super bright environment.
Yep.
And I've done it just enough to know that it's super hard on your eyes, and it's really hard to fight exposure a lot of the times, to see in the water.
Yep.
So what are some things, like some tips or tricks you could get for guys that are out there doing the same thing, that are having the same problems?
Well, this is a little odd, but Think Tank makes a rain cover
Mm-hmm.
that you can stick on like a 70 to 200 for mirrorless or whatever. If you get the extra large version, you can actually if you're using small cameras, you can put your head in it, and it darkens you up. I've done that a little bit just to try it out, and it works really well. And your eyes don't get fatigued because you're in that dark environment and you're looking at your screen or your LCD or Zacuto or whatever you got going on with your camera equipment, so you can see everything. That helps out a ton.
Yeah.
Plus, it keeps your camera dry.
Yeah.
You know, it straps to the front of your lens, and then it covers everything else.
Yeah.
And if you have to take it off, it has a clear window and everything.
We've had some issues with cameras getting wet before on boats.
Yeah. It's easy to do. Yep.
We had a Rogue Wave.
It
Take
was not
one of 'em.
rogue. You're in the middle of the ocean. It's not rogue.
It was rogue.
It
Came
was
out of
there.
nowhere.
It was there. It was there the entire time.
Solid $2,100.
Look,
Nice
all the
little-
other waves were 1.5, and this was 10.
Yeah.
10-foot wave out of nowhere. It wouldn't have mattered where I was at on the boat. It's
But
everybody got soaked.
to learn, to give you guys something to learn from this, and I'm sure you have this in your repertoire too. When his camera went down, what did you do? You had a backup camera. It wasn't ideal, but you had your DSLR. You ended up filming the rest of the trip on your.
Yes, after crying.
Yeah.
Was it that 6D, the one that we're filming on now, or was it the 5D Mark IV?
No, it was a 60 because I had a
So is
flip out
that
screen.
so? It's the camera you guys are watching on the YouTube
which
right
I
now.
literally would have rather had that camera than the 5D Mark IV in British Columbia.
Yep.
Just for his flip out screen.
True.
If you guys are going to do a DSLR or mirrorless,
Budget mirrorless.
to get a flip out screen.
Yeah.
Literally just get a flip out screen. Just, I promise you'll like it better.
Yeah. No. Yeah, that is one hard thing. It's like Clay said. He's like, I didn't realize how many low shots I did.
Yeah.
One of my stupid screen wouldn't move.
Exactly. It's like,
Something else to use is a matte box,
Yeah.
especially one that has a magnetic front side, so you can put your NDs there and then
Mhm.
screw on your polarizer.
Yeah.
So, and if you've never been around water and if you've never done like in-car photography, where you have your talent inside the car and you got flash and stuff working. If you don't have that polarizer, you cannot see beyond the glass or the water.
Mm-hmm.
The glare.
Yeah, that glare is pretty harsh. So a matte box does a couple different things for you. Like I said, if it's the magnetic kind or the ones you can screw in with the gear and cogs and stuff, you can swap them out if you need to. So if it does get darker, you can pull it off, put something else on it, so you can keep your depth of field the same. Plus, it's a matte box, so it adds that extra protection to your glass, so it catches some of the spray. So as you're, if you're on a billfish or sport fish, you're on the back of the boat, and that joker's hooked into a big one, billfish, whether it's a sail or a blue marlin or whatever, they'll back it down going to the fish because you can't bring them in by yourself just sitting there like you do a bass.
Yeah.
I mean, they're 400, 500, 600 pounds, so they chase after them backwards, and all that water is coming over the back of the boat.
Mm-hmm.
It's dumping in there, so you're getting water all the time. But if you got a matte box, it helps out with some of that spray that it splashes up and catches in the wind.
I think the biggest thing for me is I hate being in bright sunshine and not being able to wear my sunglasses because I get really bad headaches because I've just ruined you see right now, I get really bad headaches if it gets like really, really bright outside and I'm out there for an extended period of time and I can't put on sunglasses. So that's what kills me anytime I'm doing something where I have to run my camera like constantly and not be able to put my glasses on. But then it jacks you up. If you do have time to put your glasses on, then something happens, you have to take them off, and now everything's bright, and you get back and you look at your footage and it's really dark or it's really bright, and it just jacks you up. So that's something I personally struggle with a lot. I say a lot, the times that I've done it.
Yeah.
With the FX6 now and the being able to have the I'm gonna forget the exact term, but basically the histogram. It's not
waveform.
The waveforms.
Yeah, waveform.
You could wear your glasses and expose as long as you just made sure that
the monitor is different than the FS7 and the FS5 to where, like, if you would look at your monitor with sunglasses on, sometimes you get, like, blackout a little bit. With the FX6, you don't get that now.
That's slick.
So you could run.
You could run your glasses
pimped up with
and
your
just make
polarizing and everything.
Another thing is if you have the budget to get a camera with cash record. For the love of God, get cash record.
Yeah.
Any fishing whatsoever, if you don't have a cash record, which that's a pre-record without hitting the button.
Right.
So let's explain that because I know I've explained cash record before, but I'm trying to lay it out in layman's terms for a lot of it because we have a lot of guys on here that are really beginners and stuff. Cash record saves you so much time and energy and effort. So what it does, when you have your camera on and it's just in standard recording mode, you'll see that little button that says, it'll say green standby. And then when you hit record, it turns red and says REC for record. Well, when you put your camera into cache mode, that will say cache and not standby, and it'll be green. So what your camera's doing in that cache mode is you go in your menu and you can set it to 30 seconds, 10 seconds. On the FX6 you can. 30 seconds, 10 seconds, and 5 seconds. I don't know if there's a lower thing than that. I think it's 30, 10, and 5.
But in high speed, you only get the option of 3 seconds.
Okay, well, 3 seconds is God's plenty. But anyway, if you're in regular speed, 30, 10, and 5. Okay, so let's
3 seconds of regular time or 3 seconds
of high speed time.
High speed
I
time.
think it's high speed.
Well,
time.
we need to test that.
Yeah.
So let's just say for the
that's
sake
life.
of argument to not jack anybody up, we're in regular speed, we're in cache record, and we've got ours set to 10 seconds. Okay, I've got my camera in cache record, and I have not hit record. It's just in cache, and I'm filming around. I'm waiting for this marlin to jump out of the water. All right, and I'm just pointing my camera, pulled focus on the end of that line. I haven't hit record yet, and as soon as that sucker jumps out of the water, then I hit record. Okay, I get to record the 10 seconds before he jumped, him jumping, and everything after until I hit record again. So it's all what the camera's doing is it's recording all the time until you hit record. Then it says, okay, he wants the last 10 seconds and everything else until he hits stop record again. So you can set that to 30 seconds, 10 seconds, and 5 seconds. And then in high speed, you can do 3 seconds. So there's so many places, especially in hunting and fishing, where that makes so much sense. I can't tell you before I got cache record how many times I would have to sit and watch something and have to be recording to make sure I didn't miss it. When in cache record, you'll never miss it, and you won't have all that trash footage of waiting on a turkey to gobble, a deer to step out, a fish to jump, Somebody that's, you can literally have your camera on your shoulder. Bow fishing is the best because you can literally wear your headset, have your camera on your shoulder, not pointing at anything, hear somebody go, big fish, and then all you got to do is swing your camera, have it obviously pre-pulled focus on the water, get the shot. Now you've got the audio and the shot. And that's the audio that you don't want to have to recreate because you want the most genuine reaction from people. And then even better, in conversations. When you're filming, off-the-cuff conversations or running gun conversations, somebody will say something funny, somebody will say a one-liner that you want. Well, you don't have to record everything. You just wait until you hear that one-liner, boom, record, you got it. Cash record is so incredibly valuable for what we do. So if you don't have cash record, it is a higher-end feature. I don't know if they offer it on lower-end cameras.
I don't think. It's awesome in sports, too.
Yeah, in sports. Yeah, anything that's got action where you're constantly waiting on something to happen, invaluable.
Yep. And I can't tell you how many times I've said, hey, say that again.
Yeah. Oh, me too, man. Me too. Same thing. And it's never as good the second time. Yeah. And it's really hard. The viewer doesn't know, but I know. Yeah. So I know that you guys missed out on the really funny line, and I tried to get it again, and everybody's already heard the line, so it's not near as funny the second time. Yeah, Chuck can definitely tell you some stories about that. But yes, cash record, I'm glad you brought that up. We've talked about that a couple times because that is, when we got the FX6, that was the one thing. It was like, dude, why does it, the one thing that we want more than anything, like the low light, crazy good. The variable ND and the audio ND, friggin' awesome. Ergonomic, size of the camera, great. Everything's wonderful. Why doesn't it have cash record?
You literally kept the FS7 when we got the FX6s because you're like, Chuck does a bunch of bow fishing. Yeah. Brian and Billy do bow fishing. We got to have cash record.
Yeah. So, but now, as you told us, whatever last podcast or 2 podcasts ago, with this new firmware update, which we've done a TikTok video. Have we put that on Instagram yet?
I believe so. I think we have.
Anyway, the FX6 with the new firmware update now does cash record. The FS7 does cash record. I'm assuming the FX9 does cash record.
Yeah.
What are some other cameras that do it?
I don't know right off the top of my head.
Yeah, so I don't either.
I want to say there's a Panasonic out there, or maybe a Blackmagic that does it.
Maybe the Panasonic.
So one drawback to cash record, it does use more battery because it's constantly recording all the time. It's essentially writing to the card, it's writing, and then it's like, okay, keep that. So it will drain your battery faster. So if you run on cash record all day, plan on bringing more batteries with you. That is one thing that it does do. Other than that, I really don't know any more negatives to it. You save so much in card space, so much time and headache going and editing.
It's so nice to have on a spot and stock mule deer hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So it's one of those things to where I literally, when I have on cash record, I'm in cash record most of the time. I'm just following, filming, doing stuff, and then I'm waiting till like something like I see it in my camera, like that was cool, boom, got it. Instead of going through 47 stupid clips of trying to get something, now we only get the good stuff. Right. So it's super, super valuable, and it obviously it's more high end. But if you want to improve what you're doing, that is one really quick way of doing it. It's #life hack. So.
Yeah. So with y'all systems that y'all have next, because y'all shoot R5s and FX6s.
Mm-hmm.
I have the same mirrorless that you have.
Oh, you got A7 III?
Mm-hmm.
I have a Canon 5D Mark IV.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we're mainly Canon. He's the only holdout.
So y'all are semi to the good side of the force.
Oh, come on.
They also run Canon glass on their Sony cameras.
Well, I can't blame them there. I mean, because some of the higher end L glasses, you got stops on your focuses and stuff. Focus rings, so you know where you're at.
God, dude. Why is that such an expensive feature? Oh my God, stops on a focus ring are like the best things ever. That's another invention, man. If you can figure out a way to put aftermarket stops on a lens.
You can. You mean like physical stops or visual?
Physical stops.
Oh,
that one.
Let's say because you can
$1 million idea. Y'all heard it here first. It is the February the 10th at 4:04 p.m. Eastern time.
I would say because you can get those stickers that go around your camera that give you the visual stop, so you can watch it.
Yeah, but who's watching that when you're filming? You're watching what you're filming. I want physical stops. Like when I hard stop, I know I'm at infinity, and I'm pull back. I'm That's what I want, and only way you get that's with like cine lenses and like some
Yeah.
really high end lenses.
Oh, cine lenses. Oh no, Ryer.
I saw some cine lenses on Facebook Marketplace yesterday, but they were too
Fuji-9.
much. They were too much.
How much?
$4,700 for two. It was a 20 to 150 and a. I
That's a
don't remember.
slick lens.
I don't
On
remember.
Facebook
I don't remember.
Marketplace, that's sketch.
Dude, some people. Dude, I'm telling you.
They done got stole.
I didn't steal them.
It's that dude that stole that gold over here the other day.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, so we.
I mean, you could use super glue and some wood to create your own stops if you really wanted to.
I want some legitimate like aftermarket stops, but
I mean, I don't know what you're gonna do that's gonna be better than that. Besides super gluing
I-
metal on there.
The reason I shoot Canon on the mirrorless side, or the DSLR picture taking side, is just because that's what I started out with. And it's what I'm familiar, and I like the ergonomics of a Canon better than I do a Sony. They're
Yep.
just small in my hand, which I
Yep.
can't believe you like. You got big hands too.
I run cages on all mine,
Oh
so
well, see, I don't run cages,
that helps tremendously.
but we don't really run ours for video much. We try not to. You know, I know you run them on both, and
Yeah.
there's definitely value to that. But there's a lot of times that I wish that we didn't, just for the simple fact of when we travel, you know, it would be a lot easier to put everything in one backpack and tote a tripod. But I don't know. I've ran big cameras so long, like I don't have any desire to run a DSLR as my main video camera, just because I just like.
challenges.
Well, there's definitely challenges. Are they capable? Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're more than capable. It's just a preference thing, and like I've always, you know, we didn't when I first started out, we only ran big cameras. Like taking pictures on a shoot, like you hired a photographer for that. Like I'm not taking pictures. What are you talking about? It's below me. It's beneath me. But now, like if you don't, it's getting to where if you don't shoot video, shoot pictures, edit pictures, edit video,
Have a
and
drone.
have a drone, have your own gear, then you know
Can call.
yeah
And you're under $200 a day. You're not getting a job.
yeah, no doubt, yeah. Or hey, you're free. How about a free T-shirt to go on this 19-day elk hunt? Deal.
How
You
cool
know?
is a T-shirt? It's an exclusive T-shirt. Can I sell for $5,000 after?
No,
You can NFT it later.
it's a Gildan junk T-shirt that's mass produced. So no.
All the cotton ones
Yeah.
that I hate wearing.
The junk ones, yeah. So
Yeah. Well, the reason why I ask, because a lot of people get cameras and they don't think about systems. You know?
yeah,
It's, I'm just going to get this camera and this camera. Then later on down the road, they're like, holy crap, they're not really compatible. Color's different, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
There's a whole
I'm
plethora
learning
of
that now
things.
with Rigid power tools versus Milwaukee. Milwaukee offers so much more better stuff, and Rigid sucks. And I got Rigid, and my brother got Milwaukee, and I'm just like, I'm so far inferior now
And you're
because
so
of,
invested into Rigid
and
that
I'm
like
so
you can't
invested
really
in.
get out.
Because I will get like nothing for what I got.
Yeah.
But like
You look at that,
Rigid's got like the freaking weed eaters and the blowers
you should
and
go
all
to
this
that
stuff.
Extra Mile
Rigid
tool.
don't have none of that cool
You
stuff.
should go down to Extra Mile tool and see what they'll give it.
That's
give
what
all you for.
I've thought about it. But to replace all the stuff that I want, like I'd go ham in there on some Milwaukee
I got the
stuff.
Ryobi because all my stuff's Ryobi, their electric pulse saw
Yeah.
in there for like $85. It's
Yeah.
like 160.
Dude, they got some great deals in there.
yeah.
But they got that
Like,
weed
no
eater.
couches though.
So that's they don't have any couches. But they got that weed eater. Like, so Chuck got that weed eater. And he's like, that would be the ultimate terrorist torture device, is that weed eater. He said, that's the meanest weed eater I've ever had.
Forget a lawn service.
Yeah.
Let's go straight to torture
Yeah.
terror.
But you'll never find somebody that loathes, if I'm saying that right?
Loathes.
I can't say it now.
Low.
Did we find a speech
I
impediment?
can't, yeah.
Low.
Loathes.
Can you say
Loathes.
Loathes.
Yeah,
That's
it is.
Loathes.
All right. Cutting grass more than Chuck Belmore.
Really?
He hates it. He said, I got an hour meter. He said, I got an hour meter on my lawnmower. And he said, every time I get on it, I look and it says like 280 hours. He's like, that's 280 hours that I wasn't killing something. He said, it makes me furious. And he's got a huge yard.
Does
cut.
he?
Oh, yeah. He said, I did not think
I
this
love
through.
that for him.
Oh,
The
yeah.
fact that he hates
Oh,
it.
he
and
hates it.
Why is
And
it?
dude,
He's so rich. He could pay someone to do it.
Exactly. Well, it just hits his pride now. He's like, pay somebody to cut my yard? But dude, he's got such a big yard, it would be expensive. Can't you just see him on a snapper lawnmower, just dog cussing himself, going around his yard? God, it makes me happy thinking about it. I called him a couple times when he was cutting grass, and he's just having a pity party for himself every time he has to do it. But anyway,
Maybe he can come cut Ryer's grass.
Have you got a system set up to cut your grass this year?
don't,
I got a
don't
guy.
ever.
You got a guy?
I was just
Yeah,
saying, don't talk to
I'm
me about a
smart.
couch.
Ryer's grass at his
Oh.
rental house is like this high.
It is
Last-
not that
It
high.
was.
It
was.
It was.
Yeah.
It was
Mary Taft could have got lost in that. In that grass.
100%. Yeah, you had to bale that stuff and sell it.
Yeah.
I thought about calling a farmer over. Ask him if he would just run. Like,
You'd have to have a
take
bu-
2 swipes on a
Yeah,
tractor.
you'd have to have a bush hog. Like the dude cut it. He had to cut it, what, 2 or 3 times to get
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That was thick and high.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, hey, one last question because I know we're getting pretty close. to
Yeah,
the
no,
end.
you're good.
And I just lost it. No. For new people that's just getting started, what would be the one thing that you would say that you need to do this, whatever it would be?
My opinion is learn the basics of editing, because
Yes.
if you're getting started in shooting, shooting is one thing, but honestly, you can teach a monkey how to run a camera and get decent stuff. But in order to be efficient and tell the best version of a story, you've got to know how that goes together in the editing process. Like, that was one of the things that the guys that brought their own footage from our editing class were starting to figure out. They're like,
Yep.
man, why don't I have a shot of this? I need a shot of this. I need a shot of this. It's like,
Yep.
once you learn the basics of how to put that story together in editing,
Yep.
it just opens your eyes to, like, I'm doing a really good job of the field or I'm doing a terrible job. Because I don't care how much footage you shoot. But that's also, we get back to the difference in a cameraman and a producer.
Yep.
A cameraman is just somebody who holds a camera and follows somebody around and just shoots everything and vomits through their lens.
Yep.
To an editor, that has little to no value. A producer is there getting the shots, telling the story, asking the questions, and getting the most out of their talent, whether that's themselves or whether that's someone else. But you don't really understand the value of how and what to shoot until you understand editing. And I'm not saying you need to be a high-level editor, but you need to understand, you need to sit down with somebody who does know how to edit, see a program with all the shots or like, for instance, a piece of content that you really like. If you could somehow see how that looks visually in an edit and where they got those pieces and the shots that go with it, or you can break it down even simpler than that. Find a piece of content that you really like. And I used to do this back when I wanted to get into this industry and I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew I needed to learn. I would literally sit down with a notepad and be like, how long was this segment? How many shots of this did they have? Like, what was the different shot? What were the shot breakdowns?
Correct.
You know, this was a really tight shot. This was a really wide shot. Here's a shot of the house. Here's a shot of the truck. Here's a shot of the deer coming in. And they cut back and forth. And, like, I didn't understand how the puzzle pieces went together, but I knew I wasn't shooting enough stuff. Because what you don't realize when you start shooting is, like, especially if you're looking at doing a TV show, or if you're not looking at doing a TV show, you know, some guys, they'll shoot something and they want to make it a 20-minute YouTube video. Okay, well, 20 minutes of watching you talk and watching the same leaf. It's like, dude, like, there's so much more to it. It's like a 22-minute TV show. There's a cut every 3 to 5 seconds.
Yep.
There's a lot of production and thought and planning went into that shoot. But the reason we knew that is because we understand the back end of how to make that piece of content or that story. And the only way you learn that is to learn the basics of editing.
Yep.
That's my take on it. What do you think?
I'll let Clay go first.
I mean, I'll go.
For me, yeah.
For me, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Get out there and do something, film something, throw it in the editor and see what you can put together.
And then and then try and figure out why it sucks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And everybody sucks at some point.
Oh, 100%.
Okay. So don't think we're
Don't look.
we're
Yeah.
God's gift.
And that's another thing that not frustrates me, but like somebody, you know, we've had people send us something like to look at, and they're like, hey, you know, you care to look at this for me, but hey, it's not like you guys, you know, it's not professional. It's like, dude.
Yeah.
Everybody starts somewhere.
That's right.
And if you saw some of this first stuff I put together, I'm embarrassed to show it to people. But
Yeah.
I also had no idea what I was doing.
The first wedding I ever did, I called a lady. I was like, "Hey, you got your wedding video downloaded?" "Yeah, why?" "Okay, good. I'm deleting it off Facebook because it's trash and I don't want anyone seeing it." So I deleted it. She's like, "Oh, okay." All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The second thing I would tell them to do is just be consistent.
Yeah.
You know, if you think you're going to go out there in a day and then learn what you need to do, that ain't going to happen.
No.
You know, like in the business world, a lot of people say leaders they don't develop in a day, but they develop daily.
Yeah.
So if you're out there, it could be anything. If you got a brand new boat, shoot a demo for it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, pull it out, whatever, set it up, all that fun stuff, and then do some 360s on it or whatever.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and here's another thing. Here's another simple little tip. Don't trust your mom's opinion,
No.
because your mom's
Yeah.
going to say it's wonderful, honey. Don't trust your girlfriend's opinion. Don't trust your family's opinion, because they're going to lie to you.
My mother's a savage. If she
Well-
doesn't like something, she will 100% tell me.
Well, most mothers. But I'm just saying, like, I've never created something. My mom wasn't just like, oh, my Lord, that's just wonderful. You did such a good job. I'm so proud of you. You need to find somebody that you trust that will be honest with you and be like, look, dude, that's really long. Like the first thing I did when we had the 7-minute cut of the reels, I sent it to Chuck.
Yep.
He's like, it's really good. He's like, but dude, it's long. It's really long. It needs to be, which we knew it was long. We knew before we sent it to him. But that's why
We only sent it to him because we knew his was getting cut.
Yeah.
His stuff was getting cut first.
But we have, we've developed.
We did not send this to Chuck. Caleb sent it without
sent it.
telling us. I didn't know that Chuck was going to be involved in my editing process.
But we work well as a team, essentially, because Ryer will bring me in to look at something.
Yep.
Clay will bring me into something, and vice versa. I'll bring them in to look at something. Because sometimes when you spend as much time with a piece of content as we do, sometimes you're so invested in it you can't see.
You're emotionally attached.
Yeah, you're emotionally attached.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need somebody to come in there and be like, dude, that sucks.
Yep.
Or, hey, that's boring. Or, hey, not a fan. Like, it's missing something. Like, there's been several times I've looked at edits and be like, it's good. It's missing something.
Yep.
I don't know what that is, but, like, it's not giving me that wow factor. There's been a lot of edits I've done for myself, especially before I had Ryer and before I had Clay that I'd done myself. And I'd watch it through and I'm like, I don't know if this is good or not. And I would love to have had that person to say, what's this look like? Where'd you get bored? Because that was always Chance, our production manager. He would always come in. He would never say anything. But if anytime he got bored, he'd go, all right, I'm bored. I'm bored. So do something here. But if he didn't say he was bored, you'd finish the end of the video and turn around and be like, it's good. It's great. But that's about as much constructive criticism you got, but he would never lie to you. If he was bored, he's going to tell you, and sometimes that's all it takes is having that other perspective that can come in. But being persistent, that's with anything, man.
Correct.
That's literally with anything that you want to get good at. And some people, and this was a hard realization for me, is there's a lot of guys out there that ask us questions that want to film, but they're doing it just for themselves. They don't really care about even really people watching their content. It's just for them to share with their buddies and their family.
Yep.
That's hard for me to that's hard for me to grasp, because everything I do, I want to be better. And like you said, persistence, like getting 1% better every day. Like everything we put out, like this reel that we just put out that we kind of all planned for, and Ryer really crushed the edit, and we all kind of went through and picked it apart, and I mean, we all shot pieces of it. So it was obviously a collective work, and we really take a lot of time to do those things. But it's one of those things to where some people might not like it and some people will, but like, I want that reel to get better every year. And this year was, I think, the best one we've done. And
fire.
according to the feedback that we got, and some of the potential work that's coming of it, it was worth the effort. I mean, we've been working on that thing on and off for 2 or 3 weeks?
On and off for 2, I think,
Yeah.
total.
I
all
told-
in, it's
I
probably
told
5 or
Ryer-
6 days.
the day that we launched it, I came back to the office when I left the gym and watched it on my computer, because I didn't want, when he would send it to us in the group message, like all the roughs and stuff, I didn't want to watch it unfinished to the point that once it came finished, I wouldn't want to watch it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I came back here, speakers as loud as I could, and watched it. And I walked out. I walked into Ryer's office as I was like, that shot of Lee went out holding the deer, and I was like, I could have watched that for another 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is the feeling you want. You don't want
Yeah.
people to
So,
necessarily feel
like-
satiated.
like
by
my
it.
brother, for instance, I sent it to him, and he sent it to a bunch of his buddies. His favorite shot was the shot right there at the pace change where Lee's shooting into the sun, and the beat goes right on this shot.
Yeah.
He said, my brother's like, I got cold chills. I watched that like 5 times.
Yeah.
Good.
It's just
That's what we
things
like to
like,
hear.
and he sent it to a bunch of his friends, and it's like, okay, we try and differentiate our reel, because there's a lot of people that put out reels, and some of them are excellent. But we always try and do something different with ours every year, because it's so easy just to put a bunch of gorgeous shots to pretty music.
Yep.
It's not hard to do. But we
Montage.
always try and tell a story with ours, whether it's our story, whether it's our client's story, whether it's the story of the year, whether it's, good times and bad times, whatever. that's the one thing with clients that we always try and push them towards is like, okay, well, that's a cool idea, but what's the story? You know, what can we, you know, even if we have to almost shoehorn in a story, like, look, can we like do something
Figure
better?
something out.
You know, can we do this a little bit different? You know, a cool montage with high speed footage is cool and whatnot, but I feel lazy if that's all we shoot.
Yeah.
If we go shoot a Rambo video and it's just a cool song with high speed clips going through water, it's like, that's cool, but like it doesn't tell a story.
Yep.
You know, and when you're starting out, learn how to do cool montages. I mean, they're important and they have their place, but more than anything, does it have a beginning? Does it have a middle? Does it have an end?
Yep.
And it's literally that basic. It's not rocket science, but I feel like I'm rambling. What was the question?
What's the one thing you would tell people to focus on when they were getting started?
Oh, that's the question. Okay. I just went down a rabbit trail. Dude, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we're an hour and 11, 12 minutes into this. Y'all got anything else? No?
I'm good.
Is there anybody on the live we can answer questions or anything? We
Yeah,
good?
y'all both took my ideas.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. We haven't. Did you answer?
I was just going to say, learn to get through your camera somewhat efficiently.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah.
I feel like a lot of people, like even when they would come to our production class, there's a shot they would want to get, but they couldn't figure out how to change the setting in their camera quick enough
Mm-hmm.
that they felt like they were holding people up, and they're like, just forget it, and then they wouldn't get their shot.
Yep.
So not only not learning your camera, but learning like setting function buttons to custom buttons and
But that comes
dials
with the
and stuff.
persistence.
Right.
Yeah.
It comes in the persistence of learning your camera. And that's what another thing I tell people in the field production part. Know your camera backwards and forwards, because when you know how to get the shot quickly and efficiently, then you don't have to worry about how is that shot out of focus, is that shot this. You know you got what you needed. You can go to the next thing and you can be more efficient instead of worrying about, well, I don't really know how to do that part, or I
And
don't
a lot
really
of
know
those
how
cool,
to,
a lot of those cool shots you see in our reel, a lot of those were done like, oh, that's cool, let me get that real quick, not setting it up
Yeah.
and lighting it for 10 or 15
Correct.
minutes to get a shot. So.
For sure, yeah. And I mean, there's value to taking 15 minutes to light something, but you don't have time to do that on hunts most of the time. It's get what you can get and do the best you can. You got something else? No value add to that? We kind of took all your good stuff. We'll let you talk first next time.
Yeah, I mean, mine was accept the process and realize that you won't be good at first.
True story.
Yep.
You're not going to be good.
yeah.
You're going to suck.
Yep.
But in order to get better, you have to suck for a certain amount of time and continue doing it. And you have to have the desire and the perseverance to want to continue doing something that you feel like you suck at.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize, like, you've been doing this how long?
Professionally, 10 years.
You've been doing this how long?
So I guess 7.
Okay, so 23 years we've been doing this professionally, and like on a daily basis,
23? How are you getting
Combined,
6.
3.
10,
Okay,
7.
I got you. See, I always feel like that's one of the most relevant statistics.
Anyway,
They're like, we've got a
anyway.
combined 50 years of experience in the field, and it's 10 guys with 5 years, and it's like, I don't understand that.
Anyway.
I feel like one person with 50 years does not equal 5 people that add up to 50.
But what I'm trying to get at is, like, we've been doing it for that many years, and on a daily basis, if there's a quiet second in the office and you listen to what people are doing on their computer, someone's watching a YouTube video about something,
Yeah.
learning something,
Yeah.
always.
Yeah.
Well, I still feel like, the realizing that understanding that you're going to suck in the beginning. So in the very beginning, when I knew I sucked, I compared myself to people that were doing it like I am now.
Yep.
And I was like, I suck compared to that guy. And now that I feel like I'm at a higher level, I feel like I suck compared to the people that I want to be now. I don't think you ever get out of that.
No.
Because I think you're always, if you're wanting to learn and you're wanting to strive to get better, in some sense or another, you do suck. Because there's always something that you can improve on. Like I feel like, and I've said this on the podcast, I've gotten so down far the rabbit hole of running the business and making sure we have clients and making sure things are going good. I don't think I'm half the shooter that I used to be, just because my mind isn't in it like it was. I can't completely devote myself to only shooting and being as creative as I can. Like I'll look at footage that these guys shot and I'll edit it. I'm like, dang, that's good. Who shot that? Dang, that's good. And then I'll look at
It's
my
usually
stuff.
me.
And
It's
then
actually false. He's lying. It's oftentimes mine.
and then I'll look at my footage. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's okay. Like it'll get the job done, but it's like I just feel like I've lost my creative
See,
juices.
I don't, because you always have ideas. The day you start running out of ideas is the day I'm scared for your sanity. I'm serious.
I always have ideas, but
Look,
like
I'm just glad I don't have to answer the freaking phone like you do. all the time. I hear you on the phone all the time, and I would, like, I get 2 spam calls a day, and I'm ready to huck it. Like, I'm pissed. And you're getting,
If you
you're
guys-
getting a call like every 15
You know
seconds.
what?
I'm like, screw that.
if
I'm
you-
glad I could go to my
dude,
edit cave,
do you
and
know-
nobody bothers me.
I just had another idea. You're welcome.
Uh-oh.
Dude, if they made a small camera that had some sort of cache or loop function, which we could do it with the Osmo, we just set it up in Ryer's office and wait for these things
Dude,
to
our
happen,
social
and then
media-
just one of us race in there to hit
Our
record.
social media deliverables for TikTok and Instagram would be done in a day.
Oh yeah, 100%. And well, we would have to create another like a Redneck Tech after hours account because it's
be
most of the
explicit.
time it's extremely explicit. But
I
we would
can't-
get some really good stuff if we could just set up a camera on you that you just forget's there. And as soon as you have an explosion, me or Clay runs in there to hit the record button.
Or we'll just yell, Ryer, hit record.
That'll diffuse the entire situation because I have another ADHD thing is just like I have a momentary lapse of filter and instant rage. Instant rage. And I did like it doesn't occur to me that there's not that the amount of rage that I am feeling inside of myself and am now letting out of myself because I can't keep anything inside is not equivalent to the wrong that has just been done to me. The only time that really hits home is when I just let out a fit of rage for 5 minutes and realize that it wasn't the computer's fault, that it was my fault. And then you have to reconcile this fact that all of the vile things that I've hurled at my computer for the past 5 minutes rest squarely on my own shoulders. And that's a very humbling moment. Now, do I ever remember that when I have a sudden fit of rage? No. But you just can't stop those kind of things. But like in 5 minutes, I'm fine. I just need to have my fit. I just need to get angry, and then I realize, oh, okay.
The best ones are when, say, Ryer gets here at 9 o'clock. It's always the rants.
You see the comment that
Brody.
yeah.
It's all like if Ryer gets here and sits down in his chair at 9:05, the best rants are always the ones that happen between that 9:05 and like 9:45. That 40 minutes that he's trying to get
Here's
the
my
day
thing.
started.
Here's my thing. He's usually here till like 9 o'clock some nights.
Who knows what happens?
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, who knows the fits of rage as we
I wish
missed?
that door lock wasn't so loud, and
'Cause
one of us
I-
could just sneak in and
Because
like.
I know I've texted him before when he's here that late. And I'm like, because I'll see him post on Instagram, like something's happening or whatever. And I'm like, are you still at the office? And he'll reply back with something semi-professional, like, yeah, I was trying to do this and it started messing up. So I'm trying to like troubleshoot it now. I know right before that, he was dog cussing his computer.
Oh yeah.
And I want to
You
know.
could get like a security system that's like a 24-hour run.
Yeah.
And then we could just, whenever something happens, go back.
You need a rage. We need, dude, you know what we could do with the extra room in the other office? Rage room for Ryer.
Get a pad room.
Yeah, just a rage room.
just sledgehammers and car tires and.
Y'all really don't understand my brain. You don't. And they're going to sit there, and they're going to get pissed at me.
I'm not getting pissed at you. I just
They're
think
gonna
it's
be like,
hilarious.
Oh, you get so pissed. You know what I don't do? I don't give up on the piss.
You
It makes me
don't.
so angry
You're
that now it's
persistent.
personal.
Yeah, you're
I'm
persistent.
going to figure it out now. The solution may not always be the best one, but it is one.
Or the legal one.
I haven't done that many illegal things.
Oh, all right. We're good. All right, we're going to end the podcast. We'll hang around if anybody's got any questions. But, dude, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for letting me.
Yeah, so
hang
and
out,
you're right
of
down the road, so
The
we'll have
chat
to do
is
this
much
again.
quieter today with him actually being here.
Yeah, I know.
that's
So
right.
yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah, I
you're
didn't
not,
think
you're
about
not
that.
welcome back ever again. You're messing up our metrics.
All right, guys. Peace. Nobody has ever caught on to that, Ryer. So we will continue until it's not
Caught on to what?
nothing. Obviously, you haven't caught on either.
Uh-oh.
He did that like twice this last podcast. He would go.
So you're gonna have to keep a laptop in front of you just so you can let Clay
I
know how
could
you
just
feel.
give Clay a look.
I
Clay
don't know.
knows the
I kind of
looks.
like this
I
dynamic
do
though of
too.
y'all across this more.
In fact, I'm more of an attacking posture here versus like looking at you.
I like.
Oh, that's funny.
You know, say keep your friends close, your enemies closer. I like to have Clay right here. Then if he really gets out of control.
See, but
I got
that
him.
scares me because Ryer's the type of person like if you don't let him get a hold of you, you're good. Like being quick, like I am most of the time. But as soon as Ryer gets hold of you, he's got like that retard strength. That
I do. I do.
that like I like him over there because at least he has to get up and it gives me enough time to maneuver.
That's two for you today.
if he's
Clay.
here and he just like he can like just he's
usually
done.
usually Clay's comedy's like mediocre. He's had 2 solid ones today.
Okay.
Yeah. Golly.
I'm usually more reserved.
Oh, well, we got any good stuff? Has anybody hung around?
We've only got 3
Checks in the mail.
We've only got.
I want to know what kind of cereal box. Like what kind of cereal? Your cereal box 48.
Yeah, your cereal.
What's the cereal?
Why cereal box 48?
But what cereal?
Oh yeah, if you had to pick a cereal, yeah.
Yeah,
What? Well,
like,
that's a
what's
question
the
for you. What's your go-to cereal? You only had one cereal.
Lucky Charms.
Nah. First time I ever heard that.
That's
No,
not-
I'm going with Raisin Bran.
Out of all the cereals,
Oh,
you're going
yeah.
with
That's
Raisin
something-
Bran?
I
Okay,
would
here's the
pick.
deal though.
Figured
Like
it'd be
other
Captain
cereals-
Crunch.
Wheaties. He's cereal box of Wheaties.
Other
That's not my favorite. Not even close.
other
I
cereals
have a really
like
hard time
you
picking one.
You eat some Lucky Charms, whatever. They're tasty, but it takes you the full box to get full.
Oh, last name is Wheatie. I guess that's how you say it. High school nickname Wheaties. Okay.
I like that. That's
Yeah,
good. That's a good one.
Yeah, I like
That's cool.
explanations because I see things weird sometimes and they make no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, I think Raisin Bran is
That's
it's
that's
delicious.
the worst answer.
It's delicious and hearty. Like you get done with a bowl of Raisin Bran, you feel like you've
You
eaten
don't
something.
eat cereal for like nutrition and hardiness. You eat cereal for like
But it's still
tasting good.
I love raisins and sugar,
I
and there's
like-
a lot of
Okay,
that
listen.
in Raisin
I
Bran.
like Raisin Bran. Don't get me wrong, but that is not the only cereal. Like that, if I only had one cereal, it's not Raisin Bran.
It's either that or like I really like Fruity Pebbles.
No.
I really like Cocoa Krispies.
What's yours?
Well, I don't like milk, so
Rubro.
it would be like
Anyway.
it would be like plain Honey Nut Cheerios.
God, you
gotta
don't
be
like
Without
milk.
I like chocolate milk.
Oh,
Okay,
you know
I don't
what's
like
freaking
drinking
good?
straight
You know
white
what's-
milk, but I like milk in my cereal.
Uh-uh.
Yo, you know what's good? Chocolate milk and the Cocoa Krispies. That's something you can get behind, Caleb. That's chocolate on chocolate.
I like chocolate on chocolate. What's yours? Go to
Probably
cereal.
something cinnamon, like
Cinnamon Toast
Cinnamon Toast
Crunch.
Crunch.
Maybe Chex.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch had some really good commercials.
So I can't decide
That's why I like
between Frosted Flakes,
Ooh, Frosted Flakes is good.
Life, and just left me. Frosted Flakes, Life, and I've just freaking left me.
Must not have been that good.
No, I literally had it. Frosted Flakes, Life,
Frosted Flakes.
Frosted Flakes. I can't talk today. Honey Nut Cheerios are really good, but it wouldn't be
I
up
had
there.
oatmeal
Yeah.
this morning. I mean, that's I'm fortified.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. That'd be a
That's
tough.
why you took so long earlier.
Yeah, yeah. That's why you were late to
Late
lunch.
to lunch.
No, I enjoy my time in the bathroom. I won't be rushed. That's my time.
He gets his retard string from the Raisin Bran.
I don't care what it.
Oh, so
At the end of the day, Clay is still scared of me.
so
I don't care how he
well,
has to. How
he
has
told
to
you
reason that.
he's only been in one fight and he lost terribly.
Yeah.
That's
And he only had one hand.
That's, I don't think I tell people.
He
that.
had the full arm, but from the wrist down, he wasn't there. Dude, that shit
Like he was
hurts.
legitimately missing a hand,
Like from here down.
like amputated.
Like my watch would fall off if I was him.
He's gonna come back and beat you up again. We need more guests on
Dude,
the
that
podcast
stuff
because
was
we
like
go off on some really
That
dumb
stuff was like
tangents.
straight bone, homie.
Your
Did-
account's gonna get flagged.
So did he? Hit
Did
you
he
with
knock
that
you
one?
out with that?
I didn't get
hand?
knocked out. I have broke my orbital bone
With the gimp
with
hand?
the club. Yeah.
I can't wait to tell Chuck this. I can't. I
At least
can't
I'm
wait.
honest about it.
Hold on, did he swing it around like punch, or is he just?
It was like a
straight
jab.
out.
It was like a
Oh,
jab.
it's a jab? That's even worse.
There's no power there.
No, I was hoping it was kind of got to be like a slap.
Just like a
Dude,
bat,
it was like
right?
a-
Like a bat. Boom! You bring
Dude,
that
it
around.
was
You
like
got some
getting
power there,
poked.
but
It was
just
like getting poked in the eye with that.
Think about how hard that would hurt your Oh, Clay, gosh, I'm gonna say a prayer for you. Goodness gracious, guys, y'all want to donate some money? Clay needs a couch, and he obviously needs some milk, and
he needs some milk.
He needs things.
Some personal training.
He needs things. He needs yeah.
You need to go do some jujitsu.
Bless.
Yeah, hashtag blessed. Oh,
You should
God.
really. I would love to see Clay do some jujitsu.
That would be awful.
I'd love to see it. I think it'd be hilarious. If you are the athlete you claim
I
to
wouldn't
be.
mind doing jiu-jitsu if there was like a close gym to us.
Yeah, you
but
gotta go
there's not.
all the way down.
There's
to
nothing
Atlanta.
close to us here.
Yeah,
That's
no.
the first thing when I was there with Hoist Gracie with Dudley. He's like, do you do jiu-jitsu? I'm like, look at me. I was like, no. He's like, well, do you have a gym close by? I'm like,
Yeah, I was like,
an
no,
hour.
I prefer sumo.
Yeah,
We could turn one of the rooms into that.
yeah, we could. You could do a full Brazil. I
Brazilian-
cannot talk.
Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Brazilian jiu-jitsu
Hey,
gym.
you know, I was talking with
This is
James. He
funny.
just called it jits. Apparently, that's what the cool kids call it. They're like,
Jits?
yeah, we're at jits. I was like, you're at what?
James said
You're
that.
doing what? Yeah.
Does James do it?
Yeah.
BJJ.
Mhm.
James
Then
is
wh-
sneaky scary.
Then why was he so?
Yeah.
Why was he so not confident in that riot if he knew jujitsu?
I mean, I think
He might have tied somebody in a pretzel and just not told us because he's like
Correct.
super
Facts.
quiet and
Facts.
like
You're
he
right.
was
I
a
mean,
Marine.
also, like,
like
You're right.
he
You're right.
might have cracked some
See,
skulls.
he does
He
not
might
come
break
off
some
as that.
He might have cracked some skulls and went home and just like just waiting on the next raid.
Only 4 today, honey.
Yeah, James is he's not big in stature, but he puts off the vibe. Like
Right.
don't get in a fight with that guy if you can
Right.
help it. Yeah. Well, it's kind of like Chuck though. Like Chuck is a super unassuming guy. Like he's super funny and he's like you're attracted to him just because he's so funny and he's
Are you
like,
attracted to Chuck?
you know what you do sure. You
I
know,
wasn't gonna go there.
he was super
I'll
like
go
he
there.
just
That's a layup all
he's
day.
just got one of those personalities that people are drawn to. But like I've seen Chuck legitimately mad like 2 or 3 times.
Oh really?
No.
Not good.
Not good. Not going there. I've been really mad before in my life too, but like I wouldn't want to do that. And Chuck is also scary strong too. And he's a heck of an athlete to be so big. He really is.
Well, isn't he quite a dancer? I've heard.
Oh, he is still quite a dancer.
Like ballroom.
I've
dancing?
only seen Party Chuck come out twice, but
like ballroom dancing.
no.
Oh.
Twerk and dancing.
Lord.
He's bussing it down.
Oh, yeah. He went to West Georgia. That tells you all you need to know.
Mhm. Okay.
He can throw down.
I don't know
Okay.
what that means. What does that mean?
I can't
No,
can't tell you on the
well,
podcast.
yeah.
But he
Is it so like
They dance
What?
well.
they
is
dance
East Georgia?
He's
Is
called
that-
West
He's
Well,
cultured.
what's in East Georgia? Is it different or same?
He's cultured.
East Georgia. I don't think there is a college in East Georgia called
I
East
don't-
Georgia.
I don't know. Oh,
There's a
West
North
Georgia's
Georgia?
a college.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
University of West Georgia.
I just thought it was just.
It's like the UNG.
Welcome
of
to
the
the
West.
podcast, Ryer.
Well, I didn't-
Just Instagram kind of what? I don't know what she's saying.
oh, hey, you know what I thought of?
You thought of something? Let's hear it.
Rubro.
People took our post and sent it to 153
Nice.
people.
That's awesome.
That was me sending it to everybody on my friends list. It wasn't. I actually didn't do that. In OBS, you can play. You could load up a video and play it. We could have had a live screening party of the reel before, like for only the podcast.
Oh,
We should have done
dude,
that
I should have done that.
because then they could have seen it like the day before,
That was a good idea, Ryer.
and I had it
For
today.
2023.
It's a little late.
2023 live preview of the
2020.
real.
Oh yeah, it would be 2023, but it would be the 2022 reel.
2022 reel.
Correct.
And we're going to try and have the 2020 I cannot talk.
Who does it next year?
2022 reel available like as close to the end of the year or first of the year as
problem with
possible.
that is so much stuff with Lee and Tiff. Like we have another month, like January's worth of stuff.
Edits and stuff. Yeah.
No,
But we
just
won't-
content.
But we
Oh,
won't
that's
do the
right,
same.
yeah.
But we won't do the same concept next
I
year.
know,
It'll
but
be
still,
different.
like if there's a couple cool like snowy shots that happen, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Or we just leave the good stuff in there and save that for the next year. I mean, because not everything in the not gonna tell everybody that, but not everything in the reel was actually from this year. 95% of it was, but
That's okay.
it's okay.
What was it?
There's a couple shots.
Couple
in there
shots
that
in
were
there
out
that
of order,
weren't.
too. There was one
Well,
time lapse that
yeah.
happened at the same
Oh.
place,
Yep.
but I took later in the year, but I put it earlier.
Oh,
So like I
know
said,
what
guys,
you meant.
lies. It's all lies. All
Actually,
lies.
none of that was even our footage. So just
we
kidding.
all bought that off stock.
Ryer didn't even edit
Was it
it.
storybook, the story blocks or whatever.
Yeah, story box.
If you could buy that kind of footage on a stock footage website, I mean, you would.
People ask me
that'd
all
be
the
a good
time,
one.
like, how come y'all don't put stuff on like Adobe stock? And I'm like, well, one, we don't own anything that we do,
Mhm.
and two, I'm pretty sure people aren't going on Adobe stock 180-inch whitetail clover
Mhm.
redneck blind. Like, no, that's not happening.
Double lung shot
Right.
behind the shoulder.
Right.
Although I would like for there to be, there's a middle ground where if you're really trying to get specific outdoors noises, it can be very hard to find those on a stock website.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah.
weapons, they all sound real bad.
Yeah.
Animal noises, they all sound real bad. Like you go search for a turkey gobble,
We could go.
and it's just like a.
We could make that.
and
We
you're
could
like,
go
wow,
out
what-
and make
what
that stuff
turkey?
though. We could just take out guns one day and go shoot different caliber guns
Yeah, we should.
and bows and like
I was-
arrows hitting
Well,
targets.
with Ryer being the sound design guy, I literally asked him the other day, I'm like, how many times do you think you have downloaded that whoosh or bang and not even saved it and you just continually download a different one?
It's because it's so much easier on the stock website because I can search for like slow, bassy whoosh.
'Cause
If
apparently
we had
not-
it saved on in our library, we'd either have to go name them all
Name it.
ourselves,
Yep.
or I would have to just in my head remember that stuff. So and
Apparently not
and
all
it not-
whooshes are the same
Mm-mm.
whooshness.
no,
They're not.
Not every
There's
whoosh
lots
is the
and
same.
lots and lots and lots of whooshes.
And they all like you got to use the right one. It's got to
Yep.
be the right whoosh. You know.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Speaking
they're
of stock, hold
shushy.
on. I got a question from Cereal Box. Wheaties.
Just gonna respond. He's Wheaties now.
Yeah, he's Wheaties.
Oh, hey, Clay's got an official nickname.
I know.
Uh-oh.
It's
You d-
Home Depot.
Oh yeah, Home Depot. All of his hardware. Speaking of stock footage, would there be an interest in purchasing stock footage that other people put up, like site specific for hunting outdoor stock footage? Not really, not for us. I mean, I know we've been contacted a couple of times about needing certain shots of certain things that we have, but again, we have to get permission to send those to people because we don't own them. We'll own a little footage this year because we're going to do 2 passion projects, but and we own some that we've done, but we don't have. I mean, the best of the best stuff usually isn't ours because we can't afford to hunt the Hill Ranch or, Deseret or stuff like that. But that's the reason they pay for that kind of stuff is because you can't get it anywhere else. But I think there is value in creating authentic sound design elements between guns and bows and walking in the leaves, climbing up a tree, all the things that we don't really have of. We could genuinely probably go do in a day. We could go and record those.
And then just name them appropriately
Yeah,
so that they're
just
easy to find.
Set
yeah.
everything up on our
Just as
Zoom.
long as they don't get
Searchable.
deleted out of the server again.
Ruh-roh.
All right, we're gonna end the podcast on that, or the live after that, because I'm offended.
That's how
Hashtag
we're doing things now. When Caleb gets
e-
offended,
exactly.
it's over.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
But if I get offended, just keep piling it on. What sound sites do you guys use? Artlist, Soundstripe, Epidemic Sound. Sometimes
Well,
Music Bed,
Soundstripe, you have to
Envato.
upgrade your plan. Like we can't get sound effects off Soundstripe with the plan that we have. So
we
you
use
have to
Envato for sound effects.
Yeah.
All the other ones are for music. And
You can
there's a
also
ton of them.
use YouTube if you know what you're doing.
Correct. They have their own footage.
You can use YouTube if
Although
you enjoy doing crimes.
that YouTube to MP3 link that we all have been using. I don't know if you tried to use it lately, but
No, it's been offline.
I was saying
There's ways around that too.
no, I was saying they changed it to where you have to use a downloader. You have to create a download extension. So I had to find a new one.
Yeah,
Is
there's other
Alabama
ways
still
to
have
do
a
that.
season open right now?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The management advantage is sitting there watching us in a shooting house.
Oh, nice.
Little Debbie
Talking about his
wrappers.
Little Debbie's wrappers.
Yes, sir.
Who
is?
who is it from Management Advantage? It's not
Chuck.
Casey.
Mm.
It's not Chuck.
It's gotta be.
No, it's not.
Why you look at me? It just says the management advantage. I don't know. It doesn't say a name.
Well, I don't know who's running the account.
Identify yourself.
Identify yourself.
Oh, this is the.
Sound snap.
Oh
Weedy
yeah, this
says
is the one I've seen.
It's
that.
Howard.
Oh, it's Howard. Oh, hey Howard. We're just rambling now, Howard. We're delirious at this point. Oh yeah.
He's like,
And the best thing is he didn't know the camera was recording. That's
Right.
the best part. Okay. Well, I think we're done. We're gonna wrap it up.
I think I'm done now.
I think I'll go
I'll
home.
go home
I'm
now.
kind of tired. All right. Peace.